So before we get into all the news today, just wanted to say that these Russian drone strikes now going into Romania and Poland and surely soon to be Latvia, Lithuania, Estonia, Bulgaria, it's not a sign of strength. Russia is now openly scouring the planet for air defenses. In the past 45 days, Ukraine has struck 13 of Russia's most important oil refineries. Yesterday, hitting the second largest up near St. Petersburg, hitting the export terminal also from the same area 4 days ago. And most of these 13 refineries have been hit multiple times, and it's only getting worse. And so what can Russia do at this point? Like, what would you do? I mean, it's clearly an attempt just to get NATO, to pressure NATO, to con NATO. Typical Russian scam to get NATO to start sending air defenses to Latvia, Lithuania, Estonia, Poland, Bulgaria, in order to, systems that would be going to Ukraine. And that's the game right now. And I think slowly the realization is coming to Europeans who are now facing, skies blackened with Shahed drones. And I went to some of the damage last week. I made a video about it over there in Poland, where they blew up some houses. And we aren't far off now from where Russians are killing people in EU countries. But slowly the realization, I think, will dawn upon these European politicians that if they merely just give Ukraine the tools to destroy these refineries, sorry, not the refineries, the drone factories, well, and the refineries, the more the better, right? Then no one has to shoot them down. Who has to shoot down Russian drones if Russia's no longer able to produce Russian drones? So why now? Well, it's about to be winter, and Russia will really like to destroy the energy grid here, to leave everyone freezing. Historically, winter has always been, it's the oldest ally of Russia. I'm sure you know some of the history from Napoleon to World War II. Winter has always been the ally of the Russians, even up as recently as 2008, when they turned off the gas flow to Europe in order to yield political concessions, tried to freeze out Ukraine and as much of Europe as they could in order to get concessions. People forget about these things. It was just recently, back in 2009, I think is when it was. And this is what Russia does. They would really like to destroy the energy grid here as winter gets going. While they scour the planet for, they just offered to buy their own air defenses back, an S-400 battery, I believe, from Turkey. It was the news from 2 days ago. So Russia's trying to scour the planet right now. And it's funny because China could offer all that stuff. North Korea could probably produce it over some time. I guess they're not up to that level yet. But it's another example of China, being sort of still on the fence. They want a weakened Russia. They want all that fresh water in Lake Baikal. 20% of all the fresh water, unfrozen fresh water on Earth, is in that lake. Those juicy gas and oil fields. Russia has, the old saying is that everything on the periodic table can be found within Russia. And whether it's true or not, I don't know. But China, a weakened Russia is definitely in their favor, but they want to be the closest one, I think, when it all comes down. They want to be, well, look, we helped you, we gave you some ammo, but not so much to piss off the U.S. to the point where, okay, like, these guys are really our enemy.
And the scale of this recent campaign, this 45-day campaign that is likely nowhere near over, the scale of it is just incredible. They're hitting, there's nothing they can't really hit at this point. I'm sorry, the bottom right corner might be hidden, but there's 2 more refineries there. And as you can see, these were hit multiple times. This one in Syzran, 3 separate nights, they were hammering this place. And some of these strikes were like 17 drones at once, hitting multiple areas of the refineries. And it's just growing. The list is growing. And this is yesterday's chart. And there was one more that it was just reported this morning. Yeah, it's not stopping anytime soon. And just to confirm that it really is only small arms fire against these Ukrainian drones now. I'll just read you what I wrote this morning. More confirmation that Russian oil refineries are now only protected by small arms fire. Ukraine's years-long campaign of hitting Russian air defenses has left them wide open. Matter of time now. This is from a Russian Telegram post in which the governor of Russia's Ufa region, Radi Kabirov, conducted an operational meeting on the UAV attack that occurred at an oil refinery in Ufa. This was a pretty big strike from 2 days ago. And I mean, to make it look like he's doing something so he can keep his job, because Putin tends to like to blame these things on the governors, even though they have no, I mean, these guys can't put air defenses around refineries because they're all either, protecting Putin's palaces or they're waiting to be destroyed in Ukraine. Main points of the quote meeting is to complete the task. The Russian Defense Ministry employees fired more than 1,000 rounds from a machine gun, and another 200 from a heavy machine gun. So it's really just bullets against Ukrainian drones now. All the air defenses are either gone, protecting Putin's palaces, like I said, or in Ukraine. It's an amazing thing. I mean, how valuable how dependent Russia is on this one sector. It's truly their Achilles heel. I mean, not only economically, but socially. If you take gasoline away from the population, I mean, it's not just an economic hit, as far as like harvesting. I mean, tractors run on this stuff. Taxi drivers. I mean, it's who knows where this is going to go. I mean, there's no way there's not heavy conversations happening in the Kremlin about this. And as this progresses, so do Ukrainian strikes on Russian air defenses. Russian air defenses continue to vanish in the Zaporizhia region. This is in Ukraine's southeast. A unit of Ukraine's military intelligence takes out a $50 million Buk M3 SAM. This is one of the most valuable air defense systems that Russia has, aside from the the S-400s, S-300s. And Ukraine's just taking them out like it's nothing. It's here's a clip. Poraženo means like hit. That word that was just there in Cyrillic. This is one of the units that it's like one of the units that Russia used in 2014 to down a Malaysian flight MH17, killing like 300 people, families going on vacation. This is Russian culture, and Ukraine. Thank God for Ukraine taking care of this situation when no one else will. And the gasoline lines continue to. I mean, this must be like the 100th video I've seen just today. Russia's gasoline crisis worsens by the day, with entire cities now on the verge of empty. This is in Belgorod. This is not far from Ukraine. So he's looking for gas. He made a post for social media with including text, and he says this station here only has diesel. So they're out of all the gasoline except for diesel, and it's becoming like a cool thing to do now, to post this stuff on Russian social media. Look, we're out of gas, for some sort of social media credibility. Yeah. We keep posting these videos, but there's like 100 just today. I just grabbed a random one. And as far as the trajectory of these, there's a lot of different theories on where this whole campaign of destroying Russia's oil refineries. It's not just the refineries. So let's get that out of the way. It's not just the refineries. For example, when they hit the refinery up in St. Petersburg 2 days ago, the day before that, they hit the export terminal in 2 different spots, and they disabled half of that export terminal, oil export, 2 of the berths. And it's not only that, it's all the railroads that were leading to this refinery, to and away from this refinery and to the port. They hit several of those, including a bridge. I'll have the video of that. I'll show you in a minute. A lot of people have, different perspectives on what the trajectory of this, what this really means in terms of not only Russia, but the war effort. This is one from Kyiv Insider. I thought that was pretty good because they laid out a timeline as well. I'll just read you some of it. At current rate, Russia's entire oil refining industry faces collapse within a year. And they go into what I wanted to show you in this article, though, was they actually laid out this timeline. And there's all the evidence to back it up above and below. Timeline to collapse by spring 2026, 6 months from now. If the current strike rate holds, 40 to 50% of capacity could be out. And that's refining capacity for entirety of Russia. By late 2026, 12 months, the refinery sector approaches collapse within most plants, with most plants offline or working at minimal throughput. Because you see, Russia's slowly fixing these things. So like when they hit a refinery, sometimes they're out for 6 months, sometimes they're out for 2 weeks. And it really depends. But as this revenue starts to dry up, it's in war. I mean, it's not easy to get all of these replacement parts. I mean, especially given that most of this was built with German and Swiss, American parts when things weren't, when relations were okay between the West and Russia. So getting this stuff is not easy. They're copying a lot of things with China's help as far as replacement parts. Same thing they've been doing with airlines. Hence, all the extra airline catastrophes have been happening around Russia in the past 6 months. This is not speculation, but an extrapolation from existing data, with 12 refineries hit in 45 days. So this was just before the 13th refinery was hit. The tempo of destruction is already outpacing Moscow's capacity to adapt. And it's not only that, it's logistics. They're slamming logistics in any region of Russia that's reachable. Anything within like 1,300 kilometers is reachable from Ukraine at this point. So things aren't looking good for Putin's hellscape. This is one of the railroads that I mentioned. Among the many targets of Ukrainian strikes last night, a bridge critical for oil shipments near St. Petersburg export terminal. And this was one of the trains loaded with tanks and leads to a bridge. The bridge was apparently blown out. Yeah, things aren't going well for the Russian hellscape. And as the gasoline situation continues to deteriorate, we've got an article today out of Russian propaganda and domestic media TASS reporting that, I'll just read it to you. In Russia, independent oil depots have run out of gasoline. Independent participants in the oil market, in the oil products market, traders, oil depots have significantly reduced the volumes of fuel planned for sale on the exchange from September 15th through September 19th. Anyway, the article I translated earlier, and what it means is that the St. Petersburg Mercantile Exchange, the volume of trading in gasoline, diesel, and all this has collapsed around 70% from the previous month. There's just no gas to trade, and further, what's happening is in Russia, most gas stations are independent, and what's happening, so the big oil companies are trying to keep all the gasoline for themselves. So all these independent gas stations are starting to go out of business. There's been 20 stories in the past 3 weeks or so with the independent gas stations no longer being able to pay their bills. And some of the big chains, like with like 200-300 stations around the country. It's so much worse than Western media is talking about. But to wrap it up with this is I saw this guy from Pink Floyd. What's that asshole's name? Roger Waters, the most untalented member of Pink Floyd. He promotes pretty much any authoritarian regime that'll pay him to do so, and he spoke at one of these events that he's paid to go and blab at. I think it was an American media event, and it's like 2 days ago, and he was saying that if they would just vote, we could solve this whole Ukraine war. They would just vote and decide if they want to go to Russia. I mean, it shows he has absolutely no clue what is going on in Ukraine at all.
Siberia and any other disputed oblasts. It's not rocket science. Let the local people decide whether they want to stay part of the Ukraine ruled by the disciples of Stefan Bandera in Kiev, or become part of the Russian Federation.
They would just vote and decide if they want to go to Russia. I mean, it shows he has absolutely no clue what is going on in Ukraine at all. But this is the plan for Ukraine here. I'll show you. Russian propagandist Sarov just admitted that the Kremlin has no plans to restore water in Donbass. Okay, so half of the apartment buildings in the Donetsk region, for example, don't even have water anymore. They've been under Russian occupation now for almost 12 years, and things have deteriorated. They don't have sewers, operational sewers, basic life things, electricity. It's all been stolen. That's what Russia does. They come in, they don't care. They want the resources under the ground, and they want the propaganda win of being able to call it Russia. That's as far as it goes for them. So people don't matter. Eventually, everyone will leave when things, become like Russia. They have no plan to restore water to Donbass. Instead, they're using the crisis to voluntarily deport people to Siberia. This is exactly what they did when, they after World War II, and the Russians went into Latvia, Lithuania, Estonia, and even the part of Finland, the 11% of Finland that they managed to conquer. They immediately went in there and loaded everyone into trucks. Same thing they did with Crimea, areas of Ukraine. This is what the Russians have always done. They load up cattle cars full of people and ship them out to the far reaches of Russia to get rid of any ideas that you had that you were your own people, whether you were a Crimean Tatar, you were Estonian or Latvian, Lithuanian. If you're Ukrainian, they want to get rid of all that stuff. Now you're Russian, go over there and don't ever come back. If you do, you're going to the Gulag. Sometimes it's both. You go to the Gulag, then you're sent out to Siberia. Same Stalin-era repression and deportations, but with a modern twist. And you can hear it right from the horse's mouth here. They want people from Donetsk to move to Siberia, using water shortages as a tool to manipulate them. I'm not joking. This is a Russian propagandist. He's recently come a little bit out of favor. He is close to the Kremlin. He's talking about one of his buddies. He said that nothing should be repaired and that everyone from Donbass and Novorossiya should go and develop Siberia. Yeah, that's basically, they want people to go over by China. They're not worried about being invaded from Europe. They're worried about Chinese deciding that it's time to go ahead and take as much of Russia as they like because, Russia has no means to defend against that. Can't even defend against Ukrainian drone strikes. Yeah, anyway, so it's basically, it's just getting worse and worse for Russia. And yeah, that's good news for Ukraine, good news for humanity. What is bad news for Russia is good news for humanity. Okay, that's it for today, guys.